Sometimes missing out on a new makeup launch can be absolutely gut-wrenching, but other times you actually look back with hindsight and think, you know what? Thank God I missed out on that because that product would never have been used in my makeup collection. And I was just being influenced by FOMO and by promotion. And looking back, it was the best thing that I could have done not to buy that product. And today I'm going to be talking about that. Now, they are few and far between, don't get me wrong. I am on a unofficial no buy right now. I am really focused on consumerism and watching what I buy. I'm trying not to buy loads and loads of makeup because I have so much. I have so much makeup in my makeup collection. I am trying to project pan a few things as well, so things just can't get used all the time. I'd say over the past year, I've definitely been very conscious. I haven't made specific rules for myself for what I can and can't buy, but I've bought a few things this year so far, and for that I'm very grateful. But just before we do jump into the video, if you have not already, like and subscribe. I upload every single day here on my YouTube channel. I love bright, fun, colourful makeup, as well as project panning and get ready with me's, so if that sounds like a good time to you, then definitely stick around. I have just come back from the office. This is one of my office looks. I really like it. I've got a duochrome on. So yeah, if my makeup looks a little bit crusty, please ignore that. It's been a long day. All right, so I'm going to jump in to my picks with number 1. So this is the Too Faced Born This Way Turn Up the Light Highlight Palette. Now, Make Me Up Misser, you're to blame. I love Make Me Up Misser so much, and she influences a lot of my purchases. Or she did. She's pregnant right now, so she's not uploading onto YouTube, but when she was more active on YouTube, I would buy anything that she recommended. She could recommend something that was so opposite of my style, and I'd still want it. And this was definitely one of those things. So this was like a long, thin, round palette. It had a beaming highlight, a more subtle highlight, and then a finishing powder as well. Now, I don't like the glowy look. Despite how I look today, this is just sweat, trust me. But I don't like looking glowy because I just feel gunky. I feel sweaty. I don't feel great. I also don't like subtle highlights. So the only thing in that whole palette that I would use is the one beaming highlight, which is cooped up right in the corner of this palette. Realistically, would I have used this whole palette? Would I have project panned this palette? Absolutely not. I would have used one shade out of the whole thing, and this is expensive. Too Faced is an expensive brand. I'm pretty sure this is like £30 to £40 full price. There was a time where it was on sale, and trust me, the urge was real. The urge was so real, but I think by that point, the real lust for this thing had kind of passed a little bit, so I was over the hump for this, and thank God I was, because otherwise I would have bought this in a heartbeat, and then like 2 days later have been very disappointed. Keeping with the Too Faced theme, this is definitely one of their newer products, and some of you may be a little bit surprised by this, but this is the Too Faced Born This Way mini eyeshadow palette, more specifically in the shade Cold Smolder Nudes. I really love cool tones. I know I'm wearing reds today. I know, but bear with me. If I'm going to be wearing neutral, and I mean proper neutral, it's going to be cool tones. I think it complements my colouring so well. And this little palette seemed absolutely perfect for my general everyday makeup wear. And I was thinking, oh, I want like a little palette just for work or something, just for when I'm going to like an event or a birthday party or a meal out and I want to go a little bit more neutral. And then I realized I have so many everyday eyeshadow palettes that have not been touched in months. So why do I need another one? I very rarely do everyday makeup, and I'm saying it in air quotes because it's subjective, I know, but I'm thinking palettes like the That's Taupe palette, palettes like the Natasha Denona Glam palette, palettes that are definitely considered neutral. I never ever wear them And when I do, it's rare, so why do I need another one? In theory, it is perfect. Like, trust me, this palette is perfect for my everyday neutral needs. A little bit of taupe, a little bit of shimmer, depth, and also a blending out shade. Absolutely sign me up. If I didn't have any makeup, then this would be such a solid purchase. But I have so many neglected taupes in my collection, it just does not make sense for me to buy it. And I'm very glad that I skipped that one. That was a hard one for me though. I've never been pulled in like that by neutrals, and I'm feeling a bit feverish, to be honest, because that is new. So next, we're moving on from Too Faced and we're going to talk about Fenty Beauty. And this is the Fenty Beauty Cheeks Out Freestyle Cream Bronzer. Now, if you have been on my channel for any amount of time, you will know exactly why I'm so glad I did not buy this. I'm not a cream product girl. I'm not, and I've learnt this, even though sometimes I do get pulled into the hype. All these TikTok girlies are constantly trying to convert me, but like, I don't have TikTok, so I see all the Instagram girlies like 3 weeks late on Instagram, you know? But it's just so hard to pull away from the hype when everyone is using it and telling me how amazing it is. But in reality, I know I would never use it. I don't like cream products. I just don't like the process of them. It's not necessarily how they look, but I have my routine in the morning, okay? I like to powder my face very heavily, even though I do have dry skin, which oxymoron in itself, but we're not thinking about that. I like to powder my face, and I feel like if I powder my face, all my cream products are just gone. And I prefer powders every single day of the week. If I'd have bought this, it would still be brand spanking new in my makeup drawer, and I hate that because Fenty is also expensive. I do have the powder bronzer from Fenty, and I really, really do enjoy that. So that is my Fenty Beauty kick when it comes to bronzers. I'm happy, I'm content. I do not need a cream bronzer that will be neglected forever and a day in my makeup drawers. Okay, let's talk about more eyeshadow palettes, and the first one that I'm going to talk about is the Beauty Bay Metamorphic palette. I did do a whole video when this palette was launched comparing it to the Book of Magic palette, and I've actually had a few comments on that today, so I don't know if it's been boosted in the algorithm when I'm filming this, but it's quite an old video. So I don't know, the YouTube algorithm just does that sometimes. On first glance, I really wanted this palette. And the whole video that I filmed a few months ago was basically saying that it was the Book of Magic's twin sister. And to be honest, that video was more for me. I know it helped a lot of you guys as well, but it was more for me, talking me out of it, because they look very, very similar, and I do stand by that point. A lot of comments on that video were saying that they are actually different, and I have no doubt. I really have no doubt that they are actually very, very different palettes. But in theory and in practice, I would use them the exact same way. I know the Metamorphic has more duochrome-y kind of shades, but I have so many indie duochromes that I don't need more. I think I have every shade in the world, so I do not need more duochromes. This was definitely a palette that really spoke to me, and to be honest, if I bought it right now, I probably would get a lot of use out of it, but I'm just very glad I didn't buy it because I feel like that itch has been scratched in my collection. I love my Beauty Bay Book of Magic palette. I love my indie duochromes. Pair them together, bish bash bosh, you have got the absolute dream team that equals the Metamorphic. And the looks that came out of that palette, to die for. I know that it is such a staple palette in so many people's makeup collections. For me, maybe not so much. I'm okay with leaving it in the past. I can look at it, I can appreciate it. I think she is beautiful, but I can pull myself away from this one. So next is something a little bit different, and I'm sure when I say this palette, you're gonna be like, what? But I am so glad I did not buy the Titanium Fox's Poppy Storm palette. Now, I do have this palette in my collection. Let me grab it. This is what it looks like. I have absolutely raved about this palette. And when this released, it was like back in January, I want to say. When this released, I had this in my cart, ready to purchase, but it was just the shipping cost, and like, this is not a cheap palette as well. it put me off. And I'm so glad I didn't buy it because I actually got it in PR. Now this is amazing and I cannot believe that I'm actually saying this out loud. I got the most beautiful palette sent to me for free in PR. Like, that is an absolute dream. But in hindsight, I'm very glad because I was this close to purchasing this palette. I believed in this brand when it first began. I was so hyped for this launch. I was so close to buying it and I got it sent to me a few months after it launched. And I'm just eternally grateful to Titanium Foxes. They are honestly one of my favorite brands. I had 2 palettes sent to me from them and it just made my entire year, to be honest. I still look at this palette and smile. I have the little card that came with these palettes in my memory box because it's just such a huge occasion, and I'm a very small YouTuber. I don't get PR very often at all. This was the first big, not big brand, but main brand that sent me something. So a brand that wasn't, you know, some kind of Amazon or AliExpress kind of brand. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but you know what I mean, like a established brand. And I'm eternally grateful. I can't stop smiling. And the quality of this, if you've seen any of my videos, you will know how much I love this. This is one of my favorite palettes. It is so beautiful. So I'm glad I didn't spend my money on it because the wonderful Titanium Foxes owner sent this to me for free. I still have to pinch myself. Even now. Okay, moving on, because honestly, I could talk about that palette all day. We're going from a high to a bit of a low. The next one is the Jeffree Star Blue Blood palette. When I say I wanted this when I was 16, a little squiddly dude child who had no concept of right and wrong in the world. And I am going to hold my tongue a little bit because I did speak about J-Star a few videos ago and someone commented saying, you know, I actually still support him, and I mean, we're just going to say we have different interests. We have maybe some different morals, but that's okay. I personally do not support him whatsoever after the whole thing that happened. I'm not even going into it. But blue is my happy colour. I've always said blue eyeshadow, blue anything. I've got bluey kind of nails on. It is my absolute happy colour. If I need a little bit of a pick-me-up, I will wear blue eyeshadow. If I'm already buzzing, I will wear blue eyeshadow. And the Blue Blood palette was kind of the first of its kind that I remember that was blue. Like, it was blue. There was no escaping the blues in that palette. And I was like, this is my dream. This is 16-year-old Caitlin's dream. Would she have been able to go out in public wearing this palette? Probably not. Probably not. Most likely not. But oh my god, I wanted this palette so bad. And the reason that I didn't buy it was the price tag. I remember it being about £50, and for a 16-year-old who is being paid below minimum wage at a chip shop, I could not afford that, let me tell you. Obviously, in hindsight, I am so glad that I did not buy that because I ended up depotting my Conspiracy palette that I had just into my singles collection. They're in round pans, no embossing on them, and even that makes me feel a bit icky still, not gonna lie. But after everything that happened, I just cannot stand to look at his name. So I'm very glad that I did not spend all of that money on a palette that would just be neglected. It would just be put to the side because I would not want to look at it, or it would be depotted and added to my singles collection. And I'm notoriously bad for using single eyeshadows. Like, it's not good. I've had to force myself to roll them into project pans because otherwise I just would not use them at all. So yeah, this palette, I am so glad I have not bought. And I'm pretty sure I did speak about this palette in a past video as well, like a similar kind of video like last year, but it still stands. It is one of my biggest, what's the opposite of a regret? Like, my biggest good job, Caitlin, for not buying that. Like, thank God. And if you support J-Star, we're just gonna have to agree to disagree. So next is similar to something that we've already spoken about. This is the Made by Mitchell Curve case. I don't know why this pulled me in so much, but it really did. I don't like cream products. I know I don't like cream products. I don't like cream blushes. I don't like cream bronzers. And I don't like cream highlights. But this palette drew me in. I think it's because it's something that I've never seen done before. It is very, very unique. And that kind of uniqueness and like TikTok fame that it got, as I said, I got that 3 weeks later on Instagram, but that fame that it got, everyone was talking about this, and I was like, maybe I do like cream products. I don't. I'm putting that into the universe. I don't like cream products. Don't let me buy cream products because I don't like them. But this was one of those that, again, I wish I could love cream products. And I don't. I don't like cream products. Powder products work so good for me. And I will never betray her. My powder girly queen. I will never ever betray her trust. She is stuck with me through thick and thin, and I'm not about to kick her to the curb, let me tell you that. But just cream products, don't let me buy them. Please don't let me buy them. I know I would never use this. I know I would buy this and it would be in my drawer used like twice. And then maybe I'd roll it into a project pan and force myself to use it 50 times, but I would not enjoy myself. And I know that now. Thank God I did not buy this. And I've also had some bad experiences with Made by Mitchell in the past. I've never heard anyone say anything bad about Made by Mitchell. However, I don't like his products. I'm just gonna say that. They're patchy on me. They go patchy. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I've tried every single way to use his liquid blushes. They go patchy. Even Drip Drip, which I love to use on my eyes, it goes patchy on my eyes as well. I have to use it as a glitter glue because otherwise it just looks a bit patchy. I'm sorry, but it just does. Next, we're coming to the end of this list slowly but surely, but let's talk about a lip product. I've not spoken about a lip product in this video yet, but, and I know the OG YouTube girlies are sharpening their pitchforks right now, the MAC lipstick trend. I'm so glad I did not buy into that. I was so close. Back in 2016, I remember watching makeup collection videos on YouTube and all the big makeup girlies had like 20 to 100 MAC lipsticks. And they were all there in the little like containers all stood up. And I was like, I want a lipstick collection like that. That was so hard for me to say. Why? I do not know. But I wanted that collection. I wanted to have 300 MAC liquid lips, not liquid lipstick. I've said liquid lipstick so many times. They're bullet lipsticks. They're not liquid. My brain is not with it today. But I wanted those lipsticks so badly, and I'm so glad I did not buy them. I can only wear very, very creamy lipsticks or lip glosses because my lips are so dry. My lips are so dry. I could only wear the like creamy formula of them. So I know that I would have bought them back in my 16-year-old naive self days and not liked them. I already know. Unless they were the like proper creamy formula, I know myself now. As well though, the thought of having like 500 MAC lipsticks actually gives me anxiety now, which I'm actually really glad about because a few years ago that would have been my dream. Now I am older and wiser and I'm like, that is way too much choice. That is too much. I'm already overwhelmed with my lipstick collection as it is. I do not need 500 MAC lipsticks as well. That's way too much. So the second to last thing on my list, and we're going back to eyeshadows, and this is another thing that I actually made a video on way back when these first released, dissing them, and again, that was definitely for me. These are the Charlotte Tilbury Hypnotizing Pop Shots. I wrote the full names down of these. Are you proud of me? But these are like single eyeshadows that are super shimmery, super glittery, super like in your face, gorgeous. And they had a blue. I think they had a taupe as well. The blue and the taupe. Oh, I mean, aesthetically, I'm looking at them. I'm in love. I am actually in love. I love them so much. But, Caitlin, stop. I have so many single eyeshadows that are never used and they are gorgeous quality. In the video that I did a few years ago when these launched, I basically went through my entire single eyeshadow collection and swatched all of the dupes that I had, and I had so many, and they're so beautiful. Like, I don't need these like £30 eyeshadows. Absolutely not. Thank you very much. No. I did swatch these in store when I lived in Liverpool, and don't get me wrong, they look really nice. They do, but I do not need that. I do not need that in the slightest. Oh my god. If I wanted something like that, I'd be more inclined to go to Colourpop and maybe get a Super Shock shadow, or to the Pastel Roses, get one of their single eyeshadows. I am not paying that much money for one eyeshadow from Charlotte Tilbury. That is insane. That is insane. But I did see a lot of the YouTube girlies swatching them, and I was like, girl, you look good. You look good. I want them. I want them so bad. But no, I think that swatching video really did help me out and really helped me to discover that I already had all of these shades in my makeup collection. I did not need more. God knows I do not need more makeup. And finally, this is the actual inspiration for this video. I decided to keep this one to last. And this is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Sultry palette. Who remembers this? Oh my goodness me. I remember this, let me tell you. So I actually got the urge to buy this back 2 years ago when all of the project panners were panning this palette as their pan that palette. And I was like obsessed. I was so obsessed. I wanted it so badly. It's like cool tones with like that pop of bright coral, and there's that grey in there. Oh my goodness. But again, I have so many neutral eyeshadows that just don't get used on the best of times. So what am I going to do with this? What am I actually going to do with this? The look and the aesthetic of this palette definitely drew me in. And I mean, I can't buy it anyway now because it's discontinued. So it's out of my hands. But ABH, especially old school ABH, is just my comfort zone. I absolutely love their formula. I am wearing the Modern Renaissance, which is my Pan That palette this year, on my eyes today, as well as a duochrome from the Pastel Roses. But that formula is absolutely top notch. I absolutely love it. And this color story genuinely does speak to me so much. But I think by the time that I caught onto this palette, it had already been discontinued. So technically it wasn't my choice not to buy it, but I didn't buy it anyway. So it's going in this video. Well done, me. So let me know down below, what is a product that you were so close to buying, but you are so glad you didn't? I want to know. I want to hear all your thoughts down in the comments. If these things are not discontinued, they will be linked down below. So if you've had your eye on them and you've decided, you know what, I've thought about it and I've decided that that is a product for me, I will, of course, leave them all down below, as well as everything that I'm wearing on my face today. I hope you did enjoy this video. If you did, like and subscribe, and I will see you tomorrow for a brand new video. Bye-bye!